Hello, YouTube. This is Kyle Donahue with Ride the Avatar, with the first place shop challenge deck profile. And as you can see, it is Narukami, and I'm with Eric, and he will tell you a little bit about his tech choices and what he's done in the event. So let's start off with the usuals. Go for it. We're gonna go with grade 0.
Grade 0?
Yes.
I'm running the usual 4 heals, that's obvious. I decided to go with 6 draws. I know the deck has its own innate draw power, thanks to...
kind of free.
Yeah, it is free. Thanks to Jaggy Shot. Jaggy Shot does so much for the deck. Then we got, grade 3 Searcher from the top 5, thanks to Mighty Bolt. Then we also got to draw the attack hits with Tortuga. We also got to draw with Volt Shred over here. And then I added even more draw with adding 2 Zuitans.
Okay.
I decided to go also 6 crit because front triggers, I didn't see a need for them. Because my opponent would die before I even had a chance to even successfully use any of the front triggers that I was running before.
Okay. So, now, tell us about your grade 1 lineup. Is this like a standard lineup, or is this like a little more techy for your choice?
I went with this grade 1 lineup for my choice. Everybody was telling me to run 4 Phoenixes, but I ran them at 3 because when I did run them at 4, either he would sit in the drop because they either wouldn't let Tortuga hit. I wasn't able to get my Dragonic Death Sights. I mean, I was able to get it off with Dragonic Vanquisher, but the Phoenixes wasn't really needed because they would go back to the drop because of this grade 1 that when you bind it from hand, you can call it and soul charge. So I put him at 3. Mighty Bolt at 4, obviously. I put this up from 3 to 4 because I noticed I was running too many grade 2s.
Okay.
And I needed more grade 1s, so that way I didn't get grade stuck.
So, now let's go on to the grade 2s. Now, explain, this seems like a lot of 2-ofs and really a bunch of splash decks. So,
with the Cho Avi, just
restrictions.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a good restriction?
But it's
on
still
a slap
good in
on
its
a
own
wrist.
right. But in its own right, it's still good. So for that, either the restanding early or late game. I went with 2 Volt Shred because Aqua Force is a thing. If you have 5 or more Blue Wave, the whole board has resist. So thanks to this card, you can column choose instead of choosing. I went with 2.
Okay. I was about to say.
There were some
Blue Waves, I was about to say. Like, are we talking about the same game? We are not in premium, okay?
But no, with Aqua Force Blue Wave, apparently...
Blue Wings.
Blue Wings. I said Blue Wings. So with Blue Wings, I noticed that they had like 4 more or 5 or more. The whole board got resist. So I ran this guy at 2 for the column choosing.
Well, you also have Chow because column choosing.
Yeah.
So you kind of had a splash choice. I kind of see where you're going with it.
Now I run 2 Dragonic Death Sights just in case. My first ride obviously has to be Dragonic Vanquisher. So I went with 2 Dragonic Death Sights so that way I can get at least a 3rd bind off. I went for Tortuga because he's the main multi-attacking of the deck.
Yeah, kind of unfair, Bind it. Let's call it back. Let's give it 3.
I went with 2 Zuitans for that extra draw, and also for when the card is binded on the field thanks to either Vanquisher, Tortuga, Dragonic Death Sight, Voltage Horn, or Cho. This guy would get some more power.
Okay.
Then I went with 2 Volt Shred. Now I would run him at more, but what I would notice is that I would
He's kind of bricky.
Yeah. If I ran more of him, I would get stuck with this, but none of these. But then if I run this less, I noticed that I've been seeing it more. Mind you, though, if they both go to the damage zone, then you're gonna have to rely on this guy.
The card game syndrome.
Yeah.
Your 1-ofs can still show up more often than your 3-ofs.
Yeah. So I relied more on Bull Shred and Jaggy Shot for the multi-attacking, but this guy's like the main staple. What is needed for the multi-attacking? And then if the attack hit, you can bind a card in the front row and bind the card. Hold up.
Really? You don't know your own card effects?
You know he had mental
Oh yeah,
No.
bind a card in the opponent's front row, then draw a card.
Okay. For cost of Soul Blast, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
excuse me, because I legit forgot, because every time I tell them it has an on it, they immediately block it, so I legit forgot its own effect.
I let it hit a few times.
And then also, Voltage is not dead on rearguard, because if you bind a card, he gets like, it's once, but it's still an extra 5k. So on a XL2 circle, he's 19.
So that sounds good. That's pretty solid on your lineups. Now we're getting into the grade 3s, the Hearted Souls. I mean, you know, we had to have Vanquisher because Vanquisher is Vanquisher. Yeah. It's not the deck without it. But here comes the broken card that draws multiple cards just for nothing.
Oh, Jagged Shot is literally the backbone of this deck. When it attacks a Vanguard, literally the cost is bind a card from your hand. But thanks to these two guys right here, that cost is non-existent.
Yep.
And bind a card in opponent's front row. You get to call one of these to rear guards, mind you. Well, and then bind a card in opponent's front row. Then draw a card if your opponent has no front row rear guards.
So against the Excel matchup, you're not getting as many draws as you would like because this isn't Gauntlet Buster.
But if you can't get that draw, it has a secondary skill. If your Vanguard is Narukami Vanquisher, pop that homeboy into the soul and draw a card anyways.
Yeah, still one card ain't terrible. When you get both off, that's kind of ridiculous.
What I would do with this guy is if I went first and rode Draconic Vanquisher, I'd call him to rearguard just to call this guy out. But if I went second, what I would do is I would hold him off into my hand, and then when I rode my second Vanquisher, I'll call homeboy out, keep this in my soul, use Draconic Vanquisher to call this one out to rearguard right behind Vanquisher, then I'll call this one, then after everybody else attacks, I'll attack with him to get another one of these guys out for an extra attack.
So, obviously this is a more going Excel 2 deck. You probably don't even run Excel 1s in any way, shape, or form. So,
I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 cards that draw in this deck.
Okay, so now let's get up to the nitty gritty. What were some of your matches over your, what? It was 5 rounds, right?
Yeah.
And then top 8 cut?
Yeah, alright, so I beat...
And Mr. went undefeated.
Yeah. I beat 2 of the mirror matches. The second mirror match, though, he rode Jaggy Shot and couldn't do much.
Well, that's kind of the bricky end to that deck.
Then once it was my turn, I just went ham. Just rode, for the first time, rode boy Vanquisher. Then got these guys out. Then called Jaggy Shot. Then got lucky after I drove check with Vanquisher. I managed to get 2 more of these guys from my hand. So these 2 guys right here, while they were on rear guard, called the last 2 cards from my hand and won me the game.
Solid.
I beat 3 Shadow Paladins.
Were they all the same, or were they any differences? 2 were
Mordred, and 1 was Cleric Sword. But I felt bad for one of the Mordred users during for the battle for first place. He didn't see any Blaster Darks. He was stuck on Mordred with no Blaster Darks.
Yeah, that kind of happened. So that was your match against Michael in the final round. So that makes a lot of sense. So
with the Cleric Sword user, I was just binding his grade 1, so he had to rely on Cleric Sword to get the grade 1s into the drop. But he kept milling grade 2s. Somehow, with the insane amount of grade 1s he runs in the deck, all he kept selling for 2 mils straight were grade 2s.
Which is weird. You're usually at an 8 tech at grade 2 lineup in a Cleric Sword deck. So you normally at least see the 14 grade 1s, unless his build was designed to literally play anything guard game. Then, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, which made me call it out. It's Vanguard luck.
Yeah.
Now, if you get grade stuck without having a Vanquisher in your hand, literally for 2 turns, if you have this guy in your hand, you better hope those top 10 cards with top
5 in a row.
Yeah, you better hope that you get this guy. And then that one, if it bricks, the opponent has to take advantage of it. It has no
It doesn't have definitive weaknesses yet, is by the
Well, one weakness is it has a slow startup. The only grade 2 rushing you have is with Zuiten if you run them and Cho. Now I used to run Gauntlet Buster in here, but Gauntlet Buster used to just sit on his butt the whole game because without Zuiten he does nothing. So I took him out.
Sounds about right.
But other than that, he is what allows your grade 2 rushing. If you don't get him when you're riding to grade 2, then you have a really slow startup.
Yeah, it sounds about right. So, it looks like a very solid list. A lot of 2-ofs, which is very impressive in your tech choices. Surprising, and it makes it a very interesting build.
I know the 2-ofs though may look bad for this deck, but honestly, I can't tell you how many times these 2-of I've seen these cards every single time I was playing during the shop challenge.
You definitely need to be able to be diverse in your deck, and I believe that you went with the right calls, definitely because you kind of got first place. So, the draws definitely help. You get almost ridiculous amount of draws and chance by even just playing. So, with that, I will say this is Kyle Donahue from Ride the Avatar signing off. With that, please enjoy, like, comment, subscribe for more content. Have a good night. Bye.